where I'm going. Probably not a good sign. Okay. Right, let's get out on the open road. Then we can get it all happening. So. Okay, my name's David Bateson, I'm editor of ItalianCar. I'm driving a Fiat Panda Trekking, which is the top of the range Fiat Panda model. It's a diesel 1.3 litre 4-cylinder. The specification sounds like a truck because it sort of is. It's a turbocharged diesel engine, 4-cylinder, 16 valves, got an intercooler fitted to it, 55 kilowatts and a pretty impressive 190 newton meters of torque, and it's all packed into this tiny little car. So Fiat Panda's been around for a long time. As a matter of fact, it's Italy's best-selling car, although it sort of bypassed Australia. Australia never got it because it's in that sort of small car segment, and the small car segment's pretty well catered for here in Australia. So why would anybody get a Fiat Panda? Well, we had a little think about all of this and came up with a probably slightly flippant conclusion that maybe it was a car for florists, but there's probably more to it than that. And if you've been over to Europe on holiday and you've got a hire car and driving around in a little sort of hire car, then it's more than likely you ended up driving around in a Fiat Panda. And the great thing about this car, or the interesting thing about this car, is that it's got a look. It's not quite as sexy as some people would have you believe as the Fiat 500, the Cinquecento, but it's definitely got a look. And when we were out yesterday test driving with Leah, our local florist, giving it the rundown, we had a lady just flag us down and say how much she liked the car. I mean, it probably helps that this is a sort of a lurid orange colour, but it's got a lot going for it. The Cinquecento is great, but it's absolutely tiny. There's no room to put anything in. It doesn't have a boot, really. I mean, you know, it's like having a Ferrari. It doesn't have a boot. Whereas this car's got a bit of character, it's got a bit of that Italian flair, and it's got some capacity as well, so that's good. So that's why we thought, well, maybe florists. There's a fair amount of head height here as well, so that's good. And it's actually quite a lot of fun to drive. My wife didn't like it very much. I can't quite put her finger on why. She prefers her little Hyundai Getz run around. But interestingly, Leah, who's the florist, really liked it, and she drives a Hyundai Getz as well. I quite like it because it's got this, the turbocharger on the engine gives it this little burst of speed, so you can sort of zip around a little bit. The downside is that there is a bit of turbo lag, which you sort of have to get used to a little bit as well. So look, we're predicting big things for the Panda here in Australia. I mean, with all of these things, it takes a while to get momentum, and there's to completely change the subject, there's a marketing theory, interesting marketing theory about why Coke sells more than Pepsi, and that theory isn't anything to do with the marketing and the clever advertising or any of that sort of stuff. It's got more to do with distribution. And so this theory holds that it doesn't matter where you are in the world, you are closer to a can of Coke for sale than you are to a can of Pepsi for sale, and so therefore you're more likely to buy the Coke. Coke might not admit to that, and they might still want to say, no, ours tastes better than Pepsi, but no, that's the theory. And what's going on with Fiat is that Fiat's now part of Fiat Chrysler, which owns Jeep. Fiat Chrysler took over distribution of Fiat and Alfa Romeo in Australia last year, I think it was, and they've got a very simple strategy. Previously, Fiat was sold in about 17 dealerships around the country, and so that made it a bit of a rarity, really. Today, there's more than 62 dealers that sell Fiat. So you wander into your Jeep dealership, and there'll be a couple of Fiats and a couple of Alphas, and sales are already tracking quite well. I've not seen too many Fiat Pandas around, I must say, but it takes a little while, and I think we'll see quite a lot in due course. The other thing that helps, of course, is the price point. This car starts, there are 4 models. It's Pop, Easy, Lounge and Trekking. This is the top of range, the Trekking, which is only available in diesel variant. The other ones are either using a 1.2 litre 8-valve 4-cylinder petrol engine, or they have the 0.9, so a 900cc. Listen, there's a 900cc 2-cylinder engine, twin air 2-cylinder engine, which is pretty efficient in terms of fuel consumption. Of course, this is great. I'm just reading the fuel consumption at the moment, and it's sitting at 5.4 litres per 100 kilometres, so that's pretty good, really. So yeah, so the price is 16,500 is where it starts, and this is the top of the range one, which is 24,000. So that sits, again, that's pretty competitive. Fiat previously were priced at a sort of a premium pricing for the, Cinquecento style good looks and everything, but now under Fiat Chrysler stewardship, the prices have come down a bit, and away we go. So look, I think this is going to be an interesting little car. I'd be very interested to see how it goes. There are a couple of other Fiat models out there. The one that hasn't really done very well is the Fiat Punto, and I think part of the reason for that is it's a nice looking car, but that doesn't really do it. The Cinquecento, the 500 stands out, and this one I think stands out as well. It's not quite as smart looking, but the thing is that, let's be practical, not everybody can get a car that doesn't have any boot space, so this, I think, is a good combination of practical and sexy, let's put it that way. Now, we're biased, of course, so ItalianCar, what can I say? We only write about Italian cars, so we're biased, but all the same, after having driven these, I'm getting to like them. I don't think I was a big fan to start off with, but I think it's growing on me a little bit. Anyway, take one out for a test drive, see what you think.